I walk people through envisioning a prosperous future. We need to figure out how we can optimize your income. You have to know where it is that you're going. As you think about some of the goals and the desires of your heart, some of the dreams that you believe that God's even put on your heart, it can be scary to start moving towards that next thing. And for me in my life, I'm wired a little crazy, and at times it scares my staff, right? Like there was this running joke, and it was honestly serious. They said this guy in my office, his name's Doug. He said, "You need to take the sledgehammer out of your truck. You need to take the sledgehammer out of your truck." And you think that sounds, figurative, like, hey, you need to, not always be wanting to bust something down. But it was actually literal, because there were several times where I would go to my truck, I would get a sledgehammer, and I would start breaking down a wall inside of the office. We were a growing business, and we started hiring people, and there was walls and made these small little offices, and we needed space. So I just kept a sledgehammer in my truck. And somebody would be like, "Hey, we're bringing a new person on today." It's like, well, guess what? I have a sledgehammer in my truck, and we'll go bust this wall down. And I would bust the wall down again and again and again. And the antidote to mediocrity is taking action. Now, sometimes it's a little scary, and sometimes you do need to take the sledgehammer out of your truck. You need to have more tools in the tool chest than just a sledgehammer. But what you do need to do is make sure that you're always doing something. You're always moving down that path from point A to point B, because if you want to get to where you're going, you're only going to get there if you start moving. And so don't be scared of that next step. In fact, take the step even when you don't see that next stepping stone to step on. Because in that step, God's going to bless that step. In that next step, whatever that is for you, as you take that move in faith, saying, "You know what? This is a dream that I believe God's placed on my heart. I'm going to move in faith there." God blesses that step. There was this time when I was buying my first agency, and we had this opportunity to talk to an agency owner, myself and my father-in-law, and we had lunch with him at Applebee's, and we're having lunch, and the guy says, I like you guys. I think I'd like to sell the agency to you, and I like to have 10% down. 10%, it was somewhere around $75,000, how much we needed to come to. And I looked across the table, and I said, 100%, we can do that, no problem. Now, the only problem was I didn't have $75,000, but I knew that this was a deal that I wanted. I knew that I wanted to build a business. I knew that I wanted to continue to expand and grow myself. And so I said yes. I said yes, that we would have it, no problem. He said, "When do you need it by?" And he said, "I'd like to close in the next 2 months. No problem. We can close in the next 2 months. $75,000 check, 2 months, no problem at all." And I smiled, and I walked out of there. And I remember my father-in-law said to me, "So where are you getting the $75,000 from?" And I said, "I don't know, but I'll figure it out." Well, I had just written insurance for this guy, and I found out that this guy was an angel investor. And so I called him, and I said, "Hey," we'll call him Dave. "Dave, I have the deal of a lifetime for you. I need $75,000, and I'd like to take a loan from you, and I will give you 10% interest, and I'll pay you back in 18 months. And he said, "Okay, that's fine, but if you're late on one payment, or if you don't pay me off in 18 months in full, then the agency is 100% mine." Would you do me a massive favor? Would you not skip this right now? This video does not come for free, okay? We got to pay for these videos somehow, and this video is brought to you by my company, Trumbull Insurance Agency. Hey, we're going after being the #1 provider of a personal insurance experience in the country. So if you want to be with the #1 rated insurance agency in the state of Michigan, I'm not kidding, we are #1, okay? Come to Trumbull Agency. Let us write your home and auto insurance and your life insurance as well. We want to help. I have an awesome team of agents who are professional. They're super quick, and they make sure that all of the stuff that you need is taken care of as efficiently as possible. So thank you, my company, Trumbull Insurance Agency, for sponsoring this video today. Now, I didn't have any money to my name. I had no leverage. So you know what I said? "No problem, Dave. Absolutely. Let's do the deal." Shook the guy's hand, got a check for $75,000, and went and purchased my first agency. Now, you can feel the pressure, right? Like now, all of a sudden, I have to pay back $75,000 in 18 months. I didn't even make $75,000 a year at the time. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? And you know what I did? I just took action. I started moving. And when you're scared, you know what the best antidote to fear is? Start taking action. Start moving. Start plowing ahead. Start moving forward. And as you do, your dreams start to become reality. I started having to have creative solutions to things that I never ever would have thought of before if my back wasn't up against a wall. Now I had to figure out this plan. Otherwise, I was going to compromise this entire investment and all these new employees I just brought on if I didn't figure out how to go get there. And so by taking massive action now, I'm having to come up with massive solutions. I'm having to come up with ideas that honestly, they weren't even for me. I had to pray more than I've ever prayed in my entire life. And I scrapped and worked so freaking hard. In the first 6 months, we paid off that loan because we had to move forward, because we were taking action. And for me, those stories, even though they can be scary, even though sometimes they don't seem like, was that the right thing to do? I don't know. But in my life, what I've learned is taking action has always made me grow. Taking action has always pushed me to become a better man, to become the man that I believe God's made me to be, to become the business owner and the husband and the father that God has called me to be. So wherever you're at today, I just want to encourage you, from this crazy guy who literally would take a sledgehammer into his office. If that's not you, let me be that sledgehammer guy for you today. Just take action. Just start moving. As you start taking those steps, God is going to bless those steps. As you start moving towards the dreams that God's placed on your heart, you're going to start having solutions and ideas that are divine that you've literally never had before. But you would never have had those ideas. You would never have had those solutions if you had not started to move in the direction that God has called you to move. And as you move, you're going to take risk. You're going to take big risk. But I love the story of the parable that Jesus tells of the talents. Because when he gives that person 5 bags of gold, he says, well done, when that guy gets 100% return on his investment. See, we're going after big things. Yes, it's going to involve risk. Yes, sometimes it's going to be scary. And yes, it's almost always going to be into the unknown. But if God is for us, who can be against us? And that's the good news that we have. And that's what we're going after. So if this is a dream that you believe that God has put on your heart, that you want to go after, something that is deep inside of you, you say, you know what, this is bigger than even anything that I could imagine. This has got to be a God-sized dream. Then it's time to start taking massive, big action. And when you do, you're going to start seeing God show up in new ways that he's never showed up in your life before. And he would never have showed up if you just sat on your couch and didn't do anything. So what is it for you today? What step are you going to take? What big action are you going to move towards that might be scary, that might not even make total sense, but you know what? It's a step forward, a step towards what God has called you to. What is it for you today? Once you take that step, I'm telling you, you can almost guarantee that God's going to start showing up in bigger ways than you've ever seen before.